We are 12 days out from an important election at the national level, at the state level, and it's an important election here in Burlington. We're here to talk about ballot questions 1 through 4. We're probably going to focus most of our efforts on 3 and 4, but certainly I, and I think most, if not everyone that's joining me here today, is supporting enthusiastically a yes vote on ballot questions 1 through 4. Let me say a little bit about who is here. Part of, I think, this story about the redevelopment of our downtown that hasn't been fully told yet is that there is a broad coalition of environmentalists, of affordable housing advocates, of active transportation advocates, of senior advocates, of environmentalists, as well as the business community supporting this yes vote. This is a very broad coalition that has come together, I think somewhat uniquely, at least in recent history, to support a yes vote on 3 and 4, to support the redevelopment of the downtown. And we have a big part of that coalition here this morning. Not the whole coalition, but we have here with us representatives of the affordable housing community, and we have representatives of labor here. And let me say, and more. And let me say, just quickly go around. Not everyone. We're not going to make you listen to everybody up here, although we are going to have a number of speakers. We have Maksym from the United Way, who will be speaking. We have Eric Farrell, who is a longtime developer and resident of Burlington, and is working on the Cambrian Rise project, and has successfully partnered with many of the nonprofits on past Burlington projects. We have Virginia Munkelwitz and Keith Pillsbury representing Vermont Interfaith Action, and Virginia will talk about what that is for those of you that don't know VIA. We have Jeff Potvin from the Plumbers and Pipefitters Union, and as a representative of Vermont Building and Construction Trades, and Jeff's going to share a few words with us. This project is also endorsed, and I hope this is really clear to the members of the media. We're not going to have all the labor representatives speak today, but it is also, this project has been officially endorsed by IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. Jeffrey Wimette is not able to join us this morning, but you will get a press release later that has a quote from him. It is also officially endorsed by the Burlington Firefighters Association, and we have the head of that association, Mike Curtin, here with us this morning. And then we also have Keith Hancock, who is the Vice President and Business Representative for Vermont's Operating Engineers. Another element of the Vermont Building and Construction Trades Union. These are the skilled engineers who run heavy equipment, cranes and whatnot. And this project, as we're well aware, will require some cranes. Yes, sir. Who else we got here? We've then got the who's who of Vermont affordable housing. We have Nancy Owens, the head of Housing Vermont and Vermont Rural Ventures. We have Brenda Torpy, who has been a remarkable leader in affordable housing in this community for decades, the head of Champlain Housing Trust. We have Rita Markley, the head of COTS, the executive director for COTS. We are going to hear from each of them. We will also hear from President Jane Odell and at the end of this incredible lineup. We're also appreciative to have here with us today representing the financial industry. We have we've got Tom Levitt, who is the president of Northfield Savings Bank, born and raised here in Burlington, and a great civic supporter in so many ways, personally and as part of the bank. Garrett Graff, who is the newest member of the Burlington Housing Authority Board. It's proud to appoint him there recently. And we also have Cindy Reed from Cathedral Square with us here. And we have some of Tom's colleagues from the banking industry, and I'm not even sure, remind me who else we've been joined by. Katie, I haven't seen you in a while. Katie, thank you for being here from Lake Champlain Regional Chamber of Commerce, and really someone who is focused on the young professionals and the impact of our housing crisis on young professionals. And
Ashton also to the chamber.
Excellent, great. All right, so that's the introduction. We thought 7 days might show up if we, by now, we're expecting they're gonna be here, but let's dive in. Why are all these people here? I believe, here's how I see it. We have this decision to make as a community on November 8th, and it is a decision that is up to the voters to make. That is the way our system works with financial issues, and that is the way zoning is going to be decided here. And it also, of course, applies to our infrastructure plan. The voters decide. When weighing the downtown redevelopment, the redevelopment of the Burlington Town Center, I know people are taking this decision carefully, and they're trying to figure out, what are the positives and what are the negatives. From my perspective, the positives are very clear, and they're very substantial. They really are positives that impact people's lives and will make Burlington an even greater city. It's a long list of positives. We're going to increase the revenues flowing to the city and the state and the education fund. We're going to get back these streets that were lost during urban renewal. We are going to, as we talked about last week, and some of you were here last week, this is a yes vote on 3 and 4 is a big step forward for the environment in terms of reducing Burlington's impact on climate change and cleaning up the lake. But what this event is about, and the reason this group is here, is for 2 other big reasons. A yes vote in 3 and 4 is without doubt a vote for affordable housing. It is a vote to do something about the affordable housing crisis that has plagued this community for many, many years. And a vote yes is also is a vote for economic opportunity. It is a vote for jobs. It is a vote for construction jobs, and it is a vote for downtown jobs. And that's why we are joined by members of the labor community today. You guys have all heard me, and the public's heard me saying this for quite a while. I'm going to get out of the way and let some other people who have spent their lives on affordable housing and on economic opportunity share their thoughts with you. First, we have the Executive Director of Champlain Housing Trust, Brenda Torpy. Brenda, thank you for what you've done in this community for so long, and thank you for being here today.
All right. Yes, thank you. Good morning. I want to commend the Mayor and the City Council for this visionary and comprehensive approach to building a good future for the city. The people who work at the Burlington Town Center are the people that we house at Champlain Housing. And it's wonderful that this mixed-use development includes housing at scale that also includes affordable housing that will remain affordable and enable workers to live as well as to work in the city for decades and decades to come. All our development at Champlain Housing Trust is guided by a strict smart growth policy. And so a development like this one meets our highest standards of density and location. Along with our partners in the Building Homes Together campaign, we've committed to supporting the county's municipalities who wish to upzone, to improve land use, and to plan for a wide range of housing tenures and affordability as we see in the town center development. Not only will Burlington benefit from the inclusion of many new residents in a much more pedestrian-friendly and economically viable downtown, but through its thoughtful design and scale, Town Center supports our greater Vermont vision of open land and compact city, town, and village centers. These go together. They assure continued access to a rural landscape and is importantly, very important to us, equitable access to our communities where Vermonters can share the benefits of proximity to jobs, schools, daycare, healthcare, and other services. Too many communities around the country are locking people out with restrictive zoning and hyper-preservation policies. That's not Vermont. That's not Burlington. For these reasons, I urge you to vote yes on all the ballot items, but especially 3 and 4, to move Burlington forward and to also add sorely needed housing, including affordable housing for the city's workers, and add tremendous vitality to our downtown. And I'd like to add, I know there's been a lot of misinformation floating around about the actual need for housing, and I'm happy to respond to those if people want to delve into the numbers and see really how great the need still is in Burlington and how we could impact that and improve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Next, I'd like to invite Rita Markley up. Rita has been the leading advocate for the homeless in Burlington for many years, and she is also someone who for many years has seen the connection between homelessness and the broader housing market, broader housing supply. And thank you, Rita, for being here today.
My pleasure. I'm also here as a Burlington resident. This is my community. I have 3 children in schools here, so I'm speaking as a resident and from 2+ decades, 20-some years at COTS. Right now, there is a backlog in this very tight housing market that's having a devastating impact on the kids who are staying in our daycares and going to school. The numbers at COTS are growing, and the answer has never been more emergency shelter or even expanded warming shelters. The answer is greater housing opportunity. I'm voting for 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 as well. But I'm voting for 3 and 4 because it is going to add 54 units or 54 permanent affordable homes that aren't here right now. And for those who say, well, the market is easing up or vacancy rates are better, that's not true for the families who are working and struggling on tight wages. Too many residents in Burlington are spending 45 and 50% of their monthly incomes just to cover housing. And believe me, when you start paying utilities and food, there is nothing left. There's no margin left for inevitable contingencies that arise. Hence, they wind up at places like COTS. If we truly want to get ahead of ending homelessness, chronic homelessness, whatever, the answer is to create more housing at every level of our community. So that's why I urge people to vote for 3 and 4. Thank you. Because not doing so, okay, one last thing, not doing so, deciding that, oh, we don't like the extra floor or the aesthetics, the consequence of that disproportionately falls on the poorest and the most vulnerable members of this community. Thank you.
Next, we have the Executive Director of Housing Vermont, Nancy Owens, another Burlington resident, another incredible champion of affordable housing in this community for many years. Nancy, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Hi, I'm Nancy Owens. I'm a 20-year resident of Burlington, and I served on the Mayor's TIP Investment Board a few years ago. I'm an organizer with Champlain Housing Trust and the Chittenden County Regional Planning Group for the Building Homes Together campaign that Brenda mentioned. And I'm the president of Housing Vermont, which is a statewide community development organization. And I am voting for ballot items 3 and 4, and I hope that everyone else does too. Because clearly investing in our downtown streets, our new retail, new commercial spaces, and most important to me, new housing is going to just generate so many significant positive economic impacts for all of Burlington's residents. The rental housing market in Burlington is challenging. Everybody, you can talk to anybody, whatever income level, it's challenging. And it's challenging, according to a study by Allen and Brooks, our rents in this area have, on average, increased by 3% a year, while our incomes, the median income in the same area, has declined by 1% a year. And a person earning a minimum wage here needs to work over 80 hours to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. That ratio, housing to earnings, is known as a housing wage gap, and there's all kinds of studies that can give you more detail. But the fact is, it's a difficult reality for so many people, including those families earning 65% of median income who are going to be eligible to live in the inclusionary housing that's planned for Burlington Town Center. There's more than 10,000 households in Chittenden County who are rent burdened. Rita referred to that. You know, that means they're paying more than 50% of their income for housing. And when that happens, that means people don't have money for other critical things, right? They can't repair their car. They maybe are skipping on some of their healthcare issues, not buying enough food or healthy food. They can't pay for education or training to advance their careers so that they can earn more income. And numerous studies show that high housing costs impair people's economic mobility, their social well-being, their physical health outcomes for themselves and for their children. Others today and at other places can talk with more authority than I can about the economic benefits created by the construction of new housing and the businesses and the resulting jobs emerging from these investments. But what I know without a doubt is that every low-income resident of Burlington has the opportunity to live in one of these permanently affordable homes. And that's the key fact, permanently affordable. It's not the first resident or the second resident, it's a resident 20 years from now, 50 years from now, who's going to have this opportunity. That home will make a huge difference for them. It's close to services and jobs. They're not going to be burdened by that cost of commuting. They're going to be better able to support their families, have time to pick up their kids from daycare, or share a family meal because they're not working the second job to afford their unit, their home. And so that's why I'm supporting ballot items 3 and 4. I love Burlington, it's a wonderful place to live, and I want more people, especially people who have lower incomes, to be able to live here as well. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Virginia Munkelwitz, who, again, is representing Vermont Interfaith Action, has been an activist and a board member with the organization for many years. Thank you, Virginia, for being here today and bringing the perspective of our faith communities to this debate as well.
Thank you, Miro. My name is Virginia Munkelwitz. I live in Ward 6, and I'm a member of Vermont Interfaith Action. VIA is a coalition of 42 member and affiliated congregations throughout the state. We represent approximately 10,000 people, united in working for systemic change. VIA's primary focus is on social and economic justice. We support the redevelopment of the Burlington Town Center because it will lead to affordable housing and jobs, two of the best ways to lift people out of poverty. First, PTC will provide 274 new homes, and 54 of them will be affordable to those earning 65% or less of the median income. The affordable units will be distributed throughout the buildings, creating truly diverse housing rather than segregating people of different income levels. These units are desperately needed in our city. Second, BTC will increase economic vitality and provide employment in our downtown. Our vibrant city is hindered by an aging mall with empty streetscapes. Plans for the new BTC include storefronts on several streets, which will create new, good-paying jobs and enhance existing businesses. It will also create a true city center that provides expanded shopping within walking distance of new residents and visitors to the downtown area. The sales this will generate will support hundreds of jobs. For these reasons, VIA supports ballot questions 1, 2, 3, and 4 to pave the way for BTC as a way of improving life and moving towards greater economic and social justice.
Thank you. Okay, and then I believe our last speaker on the affordable housing need is Martha Maksym, Executive Director for the United Way. Martha, thank you for being here and being part of this.
Thank you, happy to be here. Hi, I just wanted to take a second and really underscore from the United Way perspective the urgency in this community around creating more housing. We've just completed a year-long needs assessment in the community, and we asked hundreds and hundreds of people about the problems in our community and how concerned and critical they were to our community's well-being. And the second question we asked folks was, if we were to address this issue, will it positively influence other concerns that we have? So is it a leverage point that we can use to actually improve the well-being of folks? And 2 of the 4 highest issues that came up consistently, no matter who we spoke to across this community, was housing and jobs. It is consistent. We are a proud partner in the Burlington Building Homes Together campaign as well, because we just believe that if people don't have housing that is affordable and safe and appropriate, they really can't take care of the other things in their lives. And jobs is another issue that for us right now, economic well-being and really helping folks be able to earn enough to take care of themselves and their families is critically important. So we are excited about the opportunity that this project affords. not only the city but really the county to make a huge dent in the need that we know exists and that people have consistently told us exists around housing and lack of housing, lack of affordable housing, and opportunities to get jobs and advance in jobs. So we're really happy to be here today. Thanks.
Thank you, Martha. Okay. Again, as I said at the start, this is not, we're not here just to recognize the importance and the win for affordable housing that a yes vote in 3 and 4 represent. We also are acknowledging and bringing some voice to the fact that it is a yes vote on 3 and 4 is a vote for jobs, a vote for good jobs and economic opportunity, both during construction and permanently. The estimates are that there'll be something like 500, more than 500 construction jobs during the redevelopment of the Burlington Town Center, and more than 1,000 permanent jobs in the retail and office space that would be built in the current Burlington Town Center site. Those are direct jobs. That doesn't even include the broader positive effects that the construction and that the permanent operations will have indirectly on the rest of the downtown. With that, again, speaking for the 4 different organized labor groups that are officially endorsing a yes vote on 3 and 4, we have Chet Jeff Potvin from the local 693 Plumbers and Pipefitters. Jeff, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to support this project for the simple reason that there's going to be bringing a lot of jobs to this downtown area, and representing the construction trades. You have all aspects of the trades: the painters, the bricklayers, the operating engineers, the plumbers and pipefitters, most important, and the IBEW electricians, and all these different trades that most people don't think about, when you're building a project of this size. And this is like probably a 3-year construction project, which is great for the downtown, bringing a lot of people into downtown, a lot of more people living in downtown, and it's just a boom for all the businesses around here. And for those reasons and others, apprenticeship programs which we have with all our trades is another big aspect, so that aging workforce, and we're bringing in younger, newer people into the workforce. This is opportunities for us to be able to do that. And I don't know, it'd be a good thing for Burlington. Thanks. Great.
Quick point, Jeff referenced there at the end of his comments, the pre-development agreement that was negotiated by the city with Don Sinex for Devonwood includes some specific provisions that do ensure that there will be opportunities for apprentices, do ensure that everyone working on the construction project must be paid a livable wage. And that includes for the private improvements as well as for the public infrastructure that's going to be built during this project. A major advocate for those provisions, and someone who made sure that they were in there, is President Jane Knodell, who was our last speaker. President Odell played a very major, strong role in making sure that the city's agreements represented all Burlingtonians as much as possible, and now she is a great partner to be campaigning with together in this Partnership for Burlington's Future campaign to get a yes vote for 3 and 4. I'm really honored and appreciative of what you're doing for the campaign.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. Very proud to be part of this campaign. I think it's a historic moment for the city of Burlington. It's really a major decision about, are we going to be a sustainable city that's actually open to people from all income levels? And if that's your vision, if that's what you want, people should be voting yes on 3 and 4. You have heard today from affordable housing experts and advocates, people who know this business. They've been doing it for decades, and they've been creating affordable housing all across the county and in the city of Burlington. And they are here to tell you today, notwithstanding other things that is out there in the Ethernet, that this housing market is extremely tight, that it is there are many households that are very rent burdened. Building these homes, 274 homes, we need those homes, and they will make a big difference to people in Burlington, especially people who are at below median income. Not building those houses is not going to make life easier for people who are currently rent burdened. You've heard it from the experts today, and we can explore it further in the questions. You've also heard from people from Jeff Potvin, who represents organized labor, people who work with their bodies, their hands, their minds for a living, that these jobs will make a difference to them. We need these jobs, and the apprenticeship program will create an opportunity for young people just entering the labor force who are looking to build stable lives for themselves and their families with well-paying jobs. After 3 and 4 pass, we're going to negotiate a development agreement with Devonwood, and we're going to keep strengthening the affordable housing provisions and the provisions for working people. And I am confident that we're going to come out with even more benefits than what we have standing here today, which are already very considerable and definitely worthy of the support of everyone in the city of Burlington. Thank you, Mayor. Good to be here.
Thank you. All right, thank you all for sticking with us through all of those, I think, critically important statements. And now we'd be happy to take some questions if you have them.
Does the calculus change for voters in your view, or should it, with the redesign that just came out the other day? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Stuart, I think it probably does in this sense. I believe as voters are going into the booth and making this decision, they're thinking about all of the benefits and they're weighing against any potential negatives. And the benefits we've been talking about this morning, it's jobs, it's housing, it's revenues to the city and the state, it's progress for the environment, it's getting back these streets and more. What's on the negative side? Not a lot. The only negative that makes much sense to me that I have heard is concern about taller buildings. And I would think that anyone who is really looking at the redesign that came out last week, which responds to recent months of public scrutiny and debate and addresses some of the concerns that have been raised by the public, will see in those new plans a considerably more exciting project than it was just a few weeks back. It was already a good project a few weeks back that I think most people up here were supporting. It's now an even better project, and I do hope that when voters go into the voting box, the images, if they're concerned at all, if they're troubled at all about the size of these buildings, that they have taken the time to look at these most recent plans and are making their decision based on that, not based on some of what I just think has to be called out as flatly inaccurate images that have been put out by opponents of the project. Images that just do not accurately take into account all elements of the zoning ordinance and therefore look much bigger than actual buildings will look. And images that have been, colored red, bright red, and look nothing like what an actual new building will be built, that will be built in the zone will look like. If you want to know what this is going to be like, go look at the studies on the city's webpage that have been signed off on by planning professionals as accurate. In particular, I would encourage people to look not at these views that you only see when you're in an airplane or a helicopter flying around, but that people will look at the views that are actual simulations of what it's going to be like to be a pedestrian on College Street and Bank Street and on the new streets that will go through this new property. I think that is the answer to these concerns about character. People are saying, I've heard out there, people say Burlington's character is going to change forever as a result of a yes vote. And they're right. It is going to change dramatically for the better. These are some of the worst blocks. Cherry Street right now, are four of the worst blocks in our downtown. It is the infrastructure's in bad shape. There's this looming, rusting parking garage. You have the blank walls from the mall where streets are cut off. All of that is going to be transformed into some of the best parts of our downtown to be a pedestrian in, to be a biker on, to be even driving around. It is going to be a vibrant, active, exciting part of the downtown in the aftermath of a yes vote on 3 and 4.